Hello, you're watching UZREPORT.NEWS. My name is Davron Azizov and here are our top headlines for today's news. President Shavkat Mirziyoyev and Kazakh Prime Minister Askar Mamin discussed bilateral relations and the need for continued cooperation in trade and economic growth between Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan.
The meeting began with the president noting that in recent years the dynamics of multifaceted relations between the two countries have been increasing. It was noted that regular high-level talks contributed to the consolidation of friendship and strategic partnership, as well as demonstrating the importance of cooperation for both sides. Askar Mamin thanked President Mirziyoyev for the warm welcome and conveyed the greetings and best wishes of the first president of Kazakhstan, Nursultan Nazarbayev, and current president Kassym-Jomart Tokayev. The parties discussed the prospects of further expansion of cooperation and trade, including economic, investment, transports, communication, energy, agriculture, education, culture, and other sectors. Particular attention was paid to the creation of favorable conditions for maintaining high growth rates of trade, as well as the promotion of infrastructure development projects with the participation of leading companies from both countries. The importance of continuing active exchanges in humanitarian and tourism sectors through joint programs was stressed. At the end of the meeting, it was agreed to develop a roadmap for the formation of a new economic agenda within the broader Uzbek-Kazakh partnership.
President Shavkat Mirziyoyev held a meeting with healthcare officials to discuss the development of the current medical system. The need for improvement of all aspects was highlighted with the emphasis in modernizing education and administration structures in this domain.
According to the Uzbek Ministry of Healthcare report, for every 10,000 people there are only 23 doctors. Primary healthcare is underfunded. Only 12 higher education institutions are qualified to deliver continuous training. 50% of doctors currently do not have access to professional development. The president said that the principle of social justice is not observed when issuing referrals to clinics and hospitals, and that only state-owned institutions participate in this process, which limits competition. The financing of the healthcare system has also been evaluated, and it has come to light that 20–30% of the funds are used inefficiently. Also, in comparison, Uzbekistan's share of the investment in primary healthcare is 35–40%, while abroad, government investments exceed 60%. Due to having an outdated paper-based system, it is difficult to effectively analyze the spending trends. There is currently no insurance available in Uzbekistan, and as a result there is little to no competition between private and state-run hospitals. With improved financing and internal data systems, with the help of new laws and the implementation of compulsory health insurance, it is hoped that the healthcare quality will get a much-needed boost. Due to limited access to professional development, a lot of the equipment used is outdated. In this regard, access to professional development will be expanded by organizing continuing education courses in Nukus and other regional centers. There is now a push to replace current medical colleges with modernized Ibn Sina schools. These schools will have the latest training techniques. Practical opportunities and equipment to ensure top-quality medical is provided to all citizens. The president also mentioned that health departments have turned into bureaucratic structures and are not conducting systematic work to analyze the data in their region. Lastly, the president highlighted that authorities should focus on the prevention of diseases. He also stressed the importance of encouraging the population to adopt a healthy lifestyle, proper nutrition, and inform them on the benefits of exercise.
The Military Court of Uzbekistan has sentenced both the former Prosecutor General of Uzbekistan and the former chairman of the State Security Service. The now ex-Prosecutor General Otabek Muradov was sentenced to 5 years of limited freedom, while the former head of the State Security Service, Ikhtiar Abdullayev, received a prison sentence of 19 years.
In determining the punishment for Muradov, the court took into account the principles of humanism and justice established by the constitution and criminal legislation of Uzbekistan. As a result, Otabek Muradov was sentenced to 5 years of limited freedom on corruption charges. The defendant displayed sincere regret for his role in the crimes committed and actively assisted in the investigation. The fact that he had provided full compensation for the crimes was also taken into account. Also, by a court decision, Ikhtiar Abdullayev was sentenced to 19 years in prison on bribery and corruption charges. He has been banned from working in positions related to management and material liability for a long period of time.
considerable decline in Uzbekistan foreign trade turnover linked to lower rates of export. A massive decline in the export of gold was highlighted as a major contributing factor.
Uzbekistan's foreign trade turnover dipped to $2.9 billion in January, which is $250 million less than in the same period last year. Total exports amounted to almost $1.3 billion, while imports to $1.6 billion. The largest decline was observed in the exports of gold. Russia became the largest exporter among Uzbekistan's trading partners for the first time. Export volume amounted to $171 million. China keeps its leading position as Uzbekistan's largest source of imports. The volume of imports from this Asian country surged to $351 million, which is almost $30 million more than last year.
As reported by the Embassy of Uzbekistan in the United States, Adam Boiler, Executive Director of the U.S. International Financial Development Corporation, held an event attended by representatives of diplomatic missions of Central Asian countries, the U.S.-Uzbekistan Chamber of Commerce, and prominent American corporations.
Development Finance Corporation is an independent agency of the U.S. government that provides financing for private development projects. DFC consolidates and modernizes the Overseas Private Investment Corporation and Development Credit Authority of the United States Agency for International Development. In addition to OPIC and DCA's existing capabilities, DFC is equipped with a more than doubled investment cap of $60 billion and new financial tools. The corporation provides direct loans of up to $500 million for private entrepreneurs, equity financing, political risk insurance, and technical assistance funds for the development of feasibility studies. At the meeting, representatives of the Uzbek diplomatic mission spoke about the reforms in the country and emphasized the commitment of Uzbekistan to strengthen trade and economic cooperation with other Central Asian countries and Afghanistan. According to Adam Boiler, the corporation has identified Central Asia as a priority region for investment. He also expressed readiness to implement development programs in the region, allocating funds for investment projects for the implementation of American technologies and management. The question of opening a regional office of the corporation in Central Asia was also raised. In addition, the American side supported the initiative of the Embassy of Uzbekistan on the establishment of a joint fund for the development of feasibility studies with joint participation of the corporation and the governments of Central Asia and Afghanistan. Following the meeting, a joint initiative group was set up for the timely implementation of agreements reached between the parties.
Bukhara urial, Asian elephant, and jaguar are among 10 new species that have been included in the list of the Convention on the Conservation of Migratory Species of Wild Animals. The proposal to take urial sheep under international protection came from Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and Iran.
The 13th meeting of the Conference of the Parties to the Convention on the Conservation of Migratory Species of Wild Animals concluded in Gandhinagar, with resolutions and decisions adopted to help conserve migratory species globally. In addition to the Asian elephant, jaguar, Indian great bustard, all slated to receive the strictest protection under Appendix 1. Meanwhile, urials, along with smooth hammerhead and taupe sharks, were listed as migratory species that would benefit from enhanced international cooperation and conservation actions. As a result of the meeting, the Gandhinagar Declaration on the Protection of All Wild Animals and Their Habitats was adopted. It was supported by representatives of 130 countries. The declaration calls for migratory species and the concept of ecological connectivity to be integrated and prioritized in the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework, which is expected to be adopted at the UN Biodiversity Conference in October.
In the last, Democrat frontrunner Bernie Sanders was under attack from all candidates on stage at the CBS News debate in South Carolina on Tuesday. Candidates called him a risky choice and criticized his ambitious universal health care proposal, which they say is costly. Former Mayor Pete Buttigieg kicked off the fiery assault.
I'll tell you exactly what it adds up to. It adds up to 4 more years of Donald Trump. Not only is this a way to get Donald Trump reelected, we got a House to worry about. We got a Senate to worry about.
Billionaire Michael Bloomberg tried to make his mark in his second debate after a disappointing first show in Nevada. He launched allegations of Russia trying to help Sanders, which Sanders himself immediately slapped down.
Hey, Mr. Putin, if I'm president of the United States, trust me, you're not going to interfere in any more American elections.
Sanders has been streaming ahead in the first 3 nominating contests, building his campaign on raising the minimum wage and making public colleges and universities tuition-free. Warren sought to cling on to Sanders' coattails, saying progressive ideas were popular, but she was the safer choice to win moderate votes.
But I think I would make a better president than Bernie. And the reason for that is that getting a progressive agenda enacted is going to be really hard.
Other hot topics were whether candidates would move the embassy in Israel, North Korea relations, as well as how they would handle the coronavirus if they were president. The debate was the final head-to-head encounter before Saturday's primary and next week's vital Super Tuesday contest.
With Japan battling the coronavirus, its Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is calling for sports and cultural events to be scrapped or curtailed for 2 weeks. That's amid concerns that the 2020 Tokyo Olympics could be cancelled. After facing criticism from opposition lawmakers, Abe answered questions about the possibility that the virus could stop the Games. He warned that the next 2 weeks were vital to stop the spread. Japan has close to 170 cases of infection, on top of the hundreds reported from the Diamond Princess cruise ship docked south of Tokyo. Abe's announcement came after Japan's professional baseball organisation said it would hold all matches scheduled until March 15 without spectators. The Tokyo Marathon has also been scaled back so that only elite athletes will compete. The Associated Press reported that a member of the International Olympic Committee said the Games are more likely to be cancelled than postponed or moved if the virus threat forced a schedule change, with a decision needed by May.
Peugeot factories may be getting a little less busy, but profits at owner PSA Group are at record highs. The firm, which also makes brands including Citroën and Opel, was helped by sales of pricier SUVs. That helped lift net profits to €3.2 billion, about $3.5 billion. The news will add to good cheer ahead of its merger with Fiat Chrysler. Earlier in the month, the Italian firm also posted relatively upbeat results. That leaves the pair outshining a sector dogged by slumping sales. The merged firm will still face headwinds, though. PSA forecasts that Europe's car market will shrink 3% this year. Meanwhile, the coronavirus epidemic has caused a slump in sales in China, the world's largest auto market. PSA factories in Wuhan, the epicenter of the outbreak, remain closed.
And that was all for today. Thank you for watching UZREPORT News. Stay tuned. Have a good day. Goodbye.